Good evening. Welcome to Prog Monster. My name is Murph. I am the host of this show, a show dedicated to progressive rock and other forms of rock music. So, we're back at the Great Prog War, battle number 22, still in the second round, with two pretty strong albums here. And for those of you who don't know what it is we're doing, my friend Ben has chosen 32 albums, put them in complex, and then we've gone from 1 to 16 the first round, and now we're doing the second round where I listen to both albums and then pick the one I like the best. Pretty much that's the way it is. So I have two really strong albums today. I think this was probably the hardest one. And I'll be honest, right now I still haven't made up my mind. I'm hoping that I'll get to a point where it'll be clear which one should win. So anyways, the first one of them is King Crimson's Larks, Tongues in Aspic. Very solid album. Really strong instrumentation on this album. Lots of different types of instruments as well. There's some really good violins on this particular album. I think all of the instrumentation is really solid. I especially enjoy the percussion on this album. Being a drummer myself, I tend to notice percussion instruments a lot more than I do a lot of the other instruments. Anyways, my favorite track for today from them was Larks, Tongues in Aspic Part 1. Even though it's an instrumental, I just think that this song is so well executed and so well put together. Some really solid instrumentation. The violins are excellent. All of the percussion instruments are interesting and timely used. Fantastic stuff. And it's a pretty heavy song overall. The only thing lacking from it is vocals, which I think would make it a fantastic song. But for the most part, I really like it. The other song I liked quite a bit on the album, for today anyways, was Easy Money. Pretty heavy track with lots of really interesting instrumentation on there. And the best thing about this album, and I'm saying this mostly for Ganesh, who has asked me to do a video on suggesting some very clear sounding and good production albums, and I will do one for him on that. But this album is one of them. This is a very clear sounding, excellent production album. And one of King Crimson's better from what people have told me. I like it so far a lot. Really solid album. All the other tracks, especially the vocal tracks, are really strong. The only song on here that I was having difficulty warming up to was the last one, which is Larks, Tongues in Aspic Part 2. And maybe just because I was getting tired because I'd listened to this album twice. And I also listened to the IQ album twice, and that's the other band I haven't mentioned yet. So it's IQ Wake is the other album that is going up against King Crimson's Larks, Tongues in Aspic. So I have a prop for the King Crimson one. I do not have one for the Wake one. I tried to purchase that album. They had a couple of other IQ albums, which I now own, that I like. But this one I wasn't able to get. So I'm forced to listen to it on my on my internet, on my computer. Sorry. Anyways, so you're not getting as good a clear sound as you would get on my stereo system. So Larks has an advantage there. But I took that into consideration because one of my subscribers, Andrew, brought this up before. So I thought, he might be right about that. Maybe I should pay a little more attention to the detail of that so that's a little bit fairer. So this album, 6 tracks, all really good. Lots of strong instrumentation, lots of great drumming, lots of fantastic percussion and percussion instrumentation, some great violin parts to the album, lots of catchy kind of interesting songs, all of them. If it has a weakness, it's that it's got three of the 6 tracks are instrumentals. The Wake album doesn't have any instrumentals. That's a strong suit for it. Now, it has a couple of really strong songs on there. The Outer Limits, which is the opening song on the album, I've always liked this song quite a bit. I love the heavy keyboards on this song. I love the vocals are strong here. I initially didn't like the vocals on this particular song, but I've grown used to his vocals and I like them. The drums are very frontal on this song. But my favorite song for today on this album is Corners. I like the calypso kind of drum parts in it. I'm assuming that's what it is. It sounds like calypso kind of drums. It could be synthesizers that are made to sound that way. It could be that as well, but that's what it sounds like to me. The vocals are very strong here, very good. I like that a lot. This song has warmed to me a lot over the period. So this whole album has a lot of strong keyboard sounds, a lot of strong synthesizer sounds. The guitars are good here. The songs are really well arranged, I think. It has it's another album with some really clear sounding, good production. Very, very strong album, and each successive time I've listened to it, it's gotten stronger. But it's up against a real heavyweight today, so I'm still trying to decide which one of these two to go with. And it's really tough because some really good album is not going to make it into the next round. And to be honest, these two albums could beat many of the bands that are making it through into that round because they're so good. But because they come up against each other today, one of them is not going to be going on. And I love IQ. I really love this album. And the King Crimson, which is a band I've grown great affection for. I really like this album a lot, and it also has Bill Bruford on it. I know more about this because I'm more familiar with King Crimson than I am with IQ. It's really tough. I don't know which way to go here. I guess it's going to come down to, they both have like 8s for their number one songs, and all the songs are really strong on both albums. The Wake album has 8 tracks. Is it 8 tracks? There's at least 7. There may be 8 tracks on the album. All of them pretty strong. There wasn't any songs on either of the albums that I thought was weak. So I'm just trying to talk myself into picking one now. So I guess if it came down to which one I liked the most today, which one would, if I could only choose to have one of these two albums, which one would I choose? Oh, that's really difficult. I already own this one, and I don't want to give it away, but okay, so we'll go a different route here. Which one of these two albums do I see getting stronger in the next round? That doesn't help either because I see them both getting stronger. I think either of these two albums are good enough to make it right almost to the end. So one of them's got to go though. I think for today I'm going to pass IQ. I think they win by the skin of my fingernail. They get through to the next round just by a skin. I listened to both. This album sounded fantastic. That album, coming off the computer, not as fantastic, but very strong album. Yeah, I think the IQ album has to go through to the next round, and that as hard as this is a fantastic album. As hard as this album is going to have to go by the wayside for this round and maybe come back in the next challenge if we do another one and give a much stronger showing. Yeah, that was very difficult. I even feel like I should change my mind. Well, you can only have one, right? That's the way it is. As hard as it is, you can only pick one because you can't have both go through. That would defeat the purpose. So only one can go through, and I think IQ has to be that band by a hair. By a hair. This is the closest battle I've had so far, and I only anticipate it's going to get harder. So King Crimson will go back on the shelf here, and IQ will move on into round number 3. So I hope you enjoyed this video. I didn't particularly I enjoyed it, but it was not something I didn't want to go this route, but it had to happen. So please like and subscribe. It's much appreciated. And you have yourself a good evening. This video will release tomorrow morning on the 23rd, battle number 22. We're getting down there. So have yourself a good night. Goodbye.